looking at like the idea of the 8-hour day, that productivity versus work hour. So 6 hours of work, you're at around 90% productivity. 7 hours, you're at like 95% productivity. 8 hours, you're at around like 96, 97% productivity. But then what happens when you go from 8 to 9, productivity drops by
Mm.
11%. And then it
Wow.
keeps decreasing as much as 19% for every hour we keep spending at our computers.
Wow.
So I've had to become way more mindful of this, that once I'm topping 8.5, 9 hours, what the hell am I doing? Because I should just step away, and I know that I'm not being as productive. And a lot of times I'll do that now. And it's this matter of like guilt. And I think something else has driven my behavior with this. I'm very competitive. And I've always been a bit of an underdog. And this goes back to me playing basketball growing up, where my 8th grade basketball coach said, Coach Boudreaux was his name. He said, J.R. Lay, you're never going to play varsity ball, son. You should just quit now. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking jerk. I'm going to prove to you that not only am I going to play, but I'm going to be captain. I put that in my mind in 8th grade. And first one in the gym, last one out of the gym,
Yeah.
was never the fastest, could jump the highest. Let me tell you, I would
Can work the hardest.
outwork and outgrind you and just wear you down mentally. Like defense was
Yeah.
my thing because I know the mind game here. And I think that's the thing. When you are a high functioning, highly driven leader, we have to start to question, why are we the way that we are? What's the driving force behind us? And it's not a right or wrong. It's just creating that sense of awareness, knowing that productivity is going to fall off of a cliff. And that's
Yeah.
where we're going to be busy. But are we really being productive?
And I think another point, and I believe you put this in Baking on Change, the quote from Adam Grant about
Yes.
sick,
Yes.
working when you're sick. So he said, and I have this quote right here. Working when you're sick is not a symbol of commitment. It's a symptom of a sick culture. In toxic workplaces, rest is a sign of weakness. You're expected to sacrifice yourself for your job. And healthy cultures, rest is a source of strength. Wellness is vital to doing your job.
Yep.
I love that.
And we also have to be very mindful of generational shifts here and how that's going to impact work. Because I
Yeah.
think about like different generations, they might call other generations lazy or they're not motivated. And I think there's some observations too. For example, the child to parent relationship. Like I saw my dad on his computer all the freaking time at home. Guess what behavior I model? And my wife
Mhm.
is really trying to help me reframe this. Don't
Yeah.
like You have to be mindful of what you observed and what you're modeling here. And yeah, my kids see me on the computer now, but it's one of those that I'm way more intentional. If they need me for something, I close it,
Yeah.
because if that screen is open, then I'm not really fully paying attention. And so
Yeah.
shut the laptop. And that's the thing. When you talk about shutting things down on these rest days, to have a good rest day, and I know it's going to give some people anxiety, but
I think I know what you're going to say.
all be disciplined to do difficult things,
Yeah.
because that's where the biggest growth happens. And I've been here and I know what it feels like. And I learned this from my time in strategic coach. A rest day means no work from midnight to midnight. That means no email, no business books, even. and no business podcast. Why? Because if you listen to the business podcast or you read the business book, then you're going to turn on that part of your brain, and then your brain is going to start processing. You got to shut the laptop. You got to turn it off and step away. And it's
Yeah.
going to be,
It's hard.
it's going to give that anxiety. I even think about whenever Delina and I, we got married and we went on our honeymoon. We went to St. Lucia, stayed in a little boutique hotel called Ladera. It was up on a 1,500-foot ridge between the Piton Mountains. There was no fourth wall. This hotel is exposed to the elements. Call it glamping.
Yeah.
No TV, no phone in the room. And the only way you could get internet access back in, this was 2006, was on a little computer down in the lobby. Guess who was down in the lobby on their honeymoon checking email? This guy was. And I thought it's what I had to do to stay competitive at the time. And in
Yeah.
hindsight, was could there have been a better way? Knowing what I know now and having reframed my relationship with technology to where I have a dumb smartphone.
Yeah.
I don't have email on my phone. I don't have social media on my phone. I don't have an internet browser on my phone. And when I tell people that and they're like, and you do what you do, I'm like, yeah, that
Yeah.
means it's completely possible.
Yeah.
So
It's hard.
that's a good race day, no work, or that's a good rest day, no work midnight to midnight. Which then brings us to, what do you have to do to have a really good race day? And what do you have to do to have a really good rest day? Enter the pace day. What are pace days here?
Yeah. So pace days, I like to call these like the ticky tacky days. This is where you're setting yourself up for the ankle biter stuff. You're scheduling, you're checking your emails, you have meetings, you're making your bed, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You can think of it. And when we're talking about exercise and fitness and marathons, this is like your stretching. This is like your warm up. You have to do this. You have to stretch and warm up. We're going to have an injury during your race. So this is all those things that may not feel like a lot, or as far as you're not getting a lot of making a lot of value, or you're not making a lot of progress, but you still have to tie up these loose ends. And it's been helpful for me to really focus this time in a time block just to get all my crap done
Yes.
and know and give myself permission. Hey, look, today or for this chunk of time, you are just taking care of business. You are just getting things in order, setting yourself up for success. Don't give yourself a hard time if you don't make major progress in one of your goals or one of your areas. You're just doing the housekeeping. That's another a good phrase. It's your housekeeping items. Having these in between those race days will help you be that much more focused and not distracted. So like for me, I like to do my pace days ahead of the race day so that I can go into my race day feeling really good about blocking everything off. If I don't answer an email, I feel good because I know that I took care of all that yesterday, and whatever emails come in during my race day, I can attend to either later on that evening or the following morning.
If you think about pacing and in relationship to running or training, these are the boring runs, but this is what it's what builds your endurance.
Sure.
And your race days and your rest days are only going to be as good as your pace days. And one of the things that I observe in the work that we do with financial brands and their teams, anecdotally speaking, I'd say around 90-95% of them spend their time stuck in pace days.
I agree.
And they never get to a good race day where they get real deep work done. They never have a meaningful rest and recover day. A lot of what we're talking about here is behavior, but even more deeply than that, it's beliefs. And to do this as an individual within an organization, or to do this with as an individual on a team alone, is going to feel hard, if not impossible.
Yeah.
But when you are thinking through these 4 different types of days, and we're going to get to the last one here in just a moment, or a better way to think of it, blocks of time on your calendar, you can hold each other accountable, just as we've have been talking through here with each other.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the last day. So we've got race days, we've got rest days, we've got pace days. What's the last one here?
Detox day or digital detox day.
Digital
And
detox days.
I have to admit, I cannot speak too much on this one because I I have had a digital detox day. I will say it was unintentional though. Uh, when back in August, I took just a quick 24-hour trip to New Orleans to accompany my friend on a work trip. And I don't even know if I told you this, James Robert, but as we were leaving, I had my phone plugged in to charge, give it a good charge. Got in the Uber to the airport and realized, oh, I left my phone at home.
Oh,
So I did not have my phone for the 24 hours I was in New Orleans. And other than I did need to call in and let my family know that they won't be able to reach me in case you have children. So of course you need to be available. But other than that, it was nice. It was nice. Now I will say I was out doing things and socializing. So it wasn't like I needed my phone as that source of socialization. But that's the most I've done for a digital detox day.
this is something that has been an ongoing experiment and expansion of just my own personal growth here, which is one of the reasons
Yeah.
I really encourage and challenge people to do this. What is the relation? Like you and I, we have a relationship. We are relating here. We have a relationship, even those who are watching and listening to this asynchronously. We have a relationship with other people in our lives. We also have a relationship with the thing that we carry around in our pocket. And is that relationship, is it making us a better person? Is it stealing from the relationships that we have with others? Is it stealing from the relationship that we have with ourselves?
Yeah.
There's some research here that found that the average American spends 4 hours and 37 minutes looking at their phone every day. I think context is important here. That adds up to 1 full day of being on your phone. If you think about it, 4.5 hours times 6, it's about 24 hours. It's a full day in a week. That's 6 days on your phone every month. That's 70 days on your phone every year.
Gosh,
That's a shit ton.
it is. Yeah. And I guess the deeper question is, of course, what are you doing on your phone? Is it mindless scrolling, social media, going down some Reddit rabbit holes?
One of the things I'm writing about in Banking on Change is this idea of digital stoicism.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that these devices are bad.
No.
I used to think that these devices, well, I'd make the argument, well, it's just a tool. It's not a tool. And I'll tell you why it's not a tool. Because a tool is a hammer, a saw, an axe, a shovel. I use that tool for a specific purpose. I need to hammer a nail. I go to the garage, I get the hammer, I hammer the nail, I put the hammer back until the next time I need it. That hammer does not bing me, ding me, buzz me while it's just sitting there.
True. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't beckon and call me like one of the sirens. Was it Oedipus or not Oedipus? Odysseus. What was that
Yeah.
old story?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's not
Odyssey. Yeah.
Odyssey. The Odyssey. That's right. It's not calling me back to pick it up. That's what our
Yeah.
phones do. And how much is that stealing from us? Time, energy, attention, relationship.